Alright guys, this Dclone build is pretty much done. Got to where it's over a 90% strike rate with it after a lot of practice and fine tuning. So I thought I'd just show it off and let you see how it's done and everything. So this is a Hydra Sorceress. Go over the skills first. Reason we choose Hydra, the damage is kind of set it and forget it. So you can spend more effort avoiding Dclone's damage, less effort dealing damage yourself. It's a lot more sort of passive than most builds in general, and specifically most Sorceress builds. The damage we're doing is Lesser Hydra. Lesser Hydra is going to shoot fire bolts, single target. The regular Hydra is going to shoot fireballs, which are kind of like AoE damage. So it's better to use the regular Hydra if you're doing maps or, even something like Trav runs or farming keys, whatever you're doing, general MFing where you're killing a lot of monsters. You want to use the regular Hydra. We're just killing one, so Lesser Hydra is going to be more damage. So max Lesser Hydra, and it has two synergies, Firebolt and Hydra. Obviously we had to put 1 point in Warmth, and then max Firebolt, which is top skill here. 1 point in Fireball, 1 point in Enchant Fire. Max Hydra, which is one of the synergies. And then we're going to max Fire Mastery because that's percent-based damage for our Hydras. And then we'll have some points left over after going 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 1, 1, so that's 83. So you'll have, I don't know, I had like 15 left over or something. More than that, but you want to, so the rest of the points you can kind of do whatever with. It's not really a big deal. A lot of people will use Teleport. I don't. Swapping around skills, I think, for me at least, causes more problems than it solves. I think you just. So for me, it's really easy to. It's much easier to rejuve through the through a bunch of the damage than teleport around, because you're still going to take damage teleporting around, and it's going to reduce your damage. It's going to open yourself up to making mistakes when you're swapping around skills. So I don't use teleport. Inconvenient to not have it when I'm doing other stuff, but this character doesn't really do much else these days. So the rest of my points are in Shiver Armor, just to boost my defense rating if I'm in range of the Trap Souls. So 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and then the rest in Shiver Armor. So that's the skills. Hydra's at 9 to 10k without Battle Command, Lesser Hydra. Go over the gear. So we'll talk first about the character sheet and what we want. So looking at the character sheet, one of the most important things is life. You want this number as high as possible. Dclone attacks, regardless of what kind of gear you have, are going to hit for a lot of damage, a lot. So if you get hit with combo attacks like a meteor and a fire burning the ground, or fire burning the ground and a bone spirit and a nova or something, you can get you can go from max health to 0 very quickly. The more life we have, the lower the chance that happens. So we want our life as high as possible. Defense is helpful for the trap souls if we're ever making the choice to stand in range of them. Not super important. Some other things we can do to help with that. The most important thing is these here, fire, cold, and lightning resistances. They need to, we want them as high as possible. Fire is pretty non-negotiable, needs to be 95. And additionally, if you look at the advanced character sheet, our fire resistance needs to really be 50 over cap, because one of the attacks has 50 fire pierce. None of the other attacks have any pierce, so cold and lightning can be right at 95. There's no poison damage. You don't need to worry about poison res. As you can see, mine is might as well just not exist. Other things we want to look out for: faster hit recovery. More the better, obviously, because when you get hit by a meteor, that puts you in hit recovery, which isn't a super big deal for dealing damage, because the Hydras just kind of sit there for 10 seconds, but it can like stun us like while we're in hit recovery, and then we get hit with another attack, and it's just easier to avoid that kind of stuff when you have more faster hit recovery. Physical damage reduction is good for those trap souls and bone spirits and all that. Faster cast rate does not matter at all for this build, so don't worry about that. And then, yeah, the absorbs, fire and cold absorb. Anytime you can get a percentage-based absorb, fire, cold, or lightning is really good. Block doesn't matter, just because you're not blocking many attacks. And then faster run walk is good because we're running around a lot, but it's not super important. The clones I've run with 25, it has been plenty. Let's talk about how we get there. So, start with the resists. First item, Guardian Angel. Pretty obviously why we want this. It can roll 4 to 6 on all 4 max resists. This one is 5/5/5 and then 4 fire resist, which is kind of annoying, but we made up for it elsewhere. I'll get to that. Other big thing about this is it can roll 3 open sockets. So I've got 3 lows in it to max lightning res. Well, 17 max light res with the 5 on it and the 3 lows. So yeah, sockets are very big for this build, as you need a lot of space to stick those high runes in to give you more max res. The other item that's given us max light res, this Shaco slammed plus 3 max light res, and then we puzzle box 2 sockets. I ended up having 2 extra sockets after filling my gear out with all the max res I needed. So we just stuck 2 jaws in here. It's going to give us maximum 10% life. Shaco is a pretty non-negotiable part of this build. You can't really make it happen with, well, Shaco's just far and away the best hat. Big things it's doing for us, other than obviously the sockets and the slam. Without those, the physical damage reduction is good. Plus 2 to all skills is good. We need some skills. We don't need so many, but We need some. We need it to die before we run out of rejuve. So skills are good. 2 to all attributes. That's kind of like 4 to vitality, which is 8 life. Because 2 to vitality, 2 to strength is 2 less we need to put into strength, which is more we can put in vitality, which is more life. And then main thing, obviously, 93 life. So it gives you 1 life per character level. My character's 93, it gets 93 life. Altogether, this item is a 222 health item. Very important. So these 2 items max our light res. We'll talk about cold res next. We've got a storm shield here that rolled 3 sockets, and we've got 3 ohms in there. So with this and this, we're at 17. The reason we like storm shield, other than the 3 sockets, physical damage reduction, good for those trap souls and meteors. Cold res and lightning res, we do need to cap those resistances, even if we can't just focus on max res, because if you have the max res but don't have the regular res to get you there, it's pretty pointless. Yeah, that's what we like about that. The other item with cold res is our Snow Clash. This doesn't really do much for us other than max cold res and cold res. It gives you 1 rank of your shiver armor, which is fine, but other than that, don't really have much use for it. You don't need to worry about like the rolls on it. Cold resist is the only roll that's important. So that leaves fire resist. Like I said, we got 4 here. For boots, we chose Inferno Stride. Inferno Stride come with 10 max fire res out of the box, and then these slam 3 more to give us 13. So 17 between these 2 items. So Hotspurs have 15 out of the box. The reason we like Inferno Stride is just a faster run walk, whereas Hotspur have nothing on them to help us other than the max res. So if you can make it work with Inferno Stride, I think it's a little better. And then the last item for max res is just a Lava Gout. Fire res and max fire res are all we're getting off this. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items that are just designed to boost our resistances. We got some plus skills in life off the Shaco as well, but a little physical damage reduction, some resist. Mostly these are here for max res. So that leaves 4 items to finish off our resists, give us as much life as possible, faster hit recovery, faster run walk, all that. So I'll go over them real quick. First item, the weapon we're using, an Oculus. What we like about an Oculus, so first of all, 3 skills. Again, you need some skills. I'm not wearing very many skills, but you need some. I think these 3 items are the only ones that are giving me plus skills. If this were just like a mapping build, we want a lot more plus skills. We want to go for as many as we can get. But we do enough damage to kill Dclone, so we don't need to go crazy on the plus skills. But we do need some, so it's nice that this has 3. It has all res, which we need. Big things, it has 20 vitality on it, and it can roll 3 sockets. We have 3 IOs in it for another 30, so it's a 100 health item, in addition to the skills and resists. Next item, Mars Kaleidoscope. Conveniently, this one slammed more fire resist, which we need the most because we need to get fire resist up to 145 in hell, which is really 245. So we need as much fire resist as we can get. We also get 2 to all skills and 5 to all attributes, which, as we discussed earlier, is 10 to vitality, which is 20 life. And finally, the rings. So we've got a Raven Frost. What we like here is the 20% cold absorb. Nothing else is useful on it, but that 20% cold absorb is really nice because with that and max cold res, it really trivializes one of his attacks that most Dclone builds have trouble with, the Nova. We can just... it's with this build, 95 cold res and 20 cold absorb, the Nova is by far the least dangerous attack. So we can consistently eat that. And then the other ring's a Dwarf Star. A lot of people sometimes will do 2 Raven Frosts, but I found with the resist and 1 Raven Frost, it's plenty enough to trivialize it. So we went with Dwarf Star because it has fire absorb and also life. It can roll 35 to 50 life. And conveniently, this one slammed 9 vitality, which is 18 more life. So really, it's like 55 life plus 8 fire absorb. On swap, we have a CTA. Only stat that matters on this CTA is battle orders. And luckily this one's 6. And then we've got a Gurkies here. Just boost our battle orders by 1. You could use a lidless here as well. But the Gurkies has... So first of all, it has physical damage reduction. And this one slammed more physical damage reduction. So it's like a mini Storm Shield. But most importantly, the resist. So this one's When I switch from Storm Shield to Gurkies, my resist do that. So I lose 10 cold res. Probably don't want to eat a Nova, but mostly I'm still in good shape. If I had a lidless instead, my resist would do that. And that's too low. Like that's really gonna hurt if you get hit by attacks during that. We're only gonna have the swap up for a couple seconds of the fight, but we don't want to expose ourselves to getting burned in that 2 seconds, which can absolutely happen if you're not prepared for it. Also to note, the Oculus here has 23 all res, so when we swap, we lose that. So we need to make up that plus the res on the Storm Shield. So an Gurkies is taking care of it for us. Go over charms. High vitality is what you want on the Annie and Torch. If you can get high res as well, that's nice. These happen to have it. Skillers, we want as much life as possible, and then other desired things are faster run walk and faster hit recovery. I think life is the most important, although I probably would trade one of these for faster hit recovery to get to that 42 breakpoint. I don't think pursuing these breakpoints is necessarily a good idea. And then the small charms are just resistance, faster hit recovery. All my faster hit recovery comes from small charms. And life. So it's lightning res, because a lot of our, like, this has cold res, this has a lot of cold res, this has fire res and cold res, this has a lot of fire res. So we needed lightning res and fire res to get all our resists up, and then 120 lifer. So yeah, that's the build. I guess we can talk about the Merc. The Merc exists pretty much to eat a round of damage while we get our cube on the floor and buff up. So what he wears is really not important. If he doesn't get one shot, we're happy. Any contributions he makes after we're buffed up are just cherry on top. Bonus. What this Merc is wearing is an Infinity. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Give him whatever weapon you have. Don't buy an Infinity or anything like that. It's not a big deal. Fortitude. It's a pretty tanky item, but again, if he's alive for 2 seconds, he did his job. Drax, String of Ears, Crown of Ages with a couple increased attack speed jewels, and Gore Rider. He doesn't have Cannot Be Frozen, but nothing's going to freeze him in there, so it doesn't really matter. When we get into the arena, we're going to want to buff up with Battle Command. We can pre-buff Shiver Armor because that won't fall off, but Battle Command will. So the procedure is click in, throw your cube on the ground, switch your weapons, Battle Command and Battle Orders, switch back, start casting Hydras and avoiding damage. So let's go. Made a pretty big mistake there in my pre-buff. Also, the Merc didn't have a great open there, but it's really fine. You can see me getting put in hit recovery there, and why you do want some FHR. Where I just cast those, you see the pool of fire there? That means a meteor is going to explode there soon. Yeah, meteor just exploded. These bone spirits explode on impact and burn the ground for 20 seconds. This attack he's doing right now, this lava, or the lightning hose, is very, very powerful and dangerous. It does a shitload of damage. So that's the last one you want to eat. The burning the ground's not terrible. The meteors are pretty devastating. What the bone spirits can do is pretty devastating. We already talked about how we sort of think the Nova is the least dangerous. And we won here, but as you can see, we still got a bone spirit chasing us around. So pick up our cube. That was one of my quicker runs, I think. Yeah, and as you can see, we used $36 minus 9. We used 27 rejuves, which is below average. Typically, it's in the low 30s. I think the highest is in the mid 50s. But you will use some rejuves. It's not a fight you want to go into with the expectation of conserving rejuves. So yeah, it's these trap souls. These mobs, that they become damageable after Dclone dies, but these are the ones that cast the meteors. The meteor is devastating. The Nova is not so bad. The Bone Spirits are pretty tough. The Lightning Hose is very tough. Definitely his highest damage attack. Burning the Ground's not so bad. So yeah, that was the fight, the build, pretty much it. It's fun. It's really fun doing Dclone on a Sorc. If it's something you want to do, I hope this video shows you how. I will caution, I don't think it's so, like, you saw how many rejuves I used, and you know, at some points in the fight it might have seemed hairy. I didn't feel like there was ever like an oh shit moment in that fight, but I have done this a lot of times. So I would say if you're gonna do this, practice it a ton. You can practice it on Pluggy, and you don't have to worry about losing, you know, your XP if you care about that, or the currency from using high runes or whatever to make it. But it's not the safest or the quickest build for doing Dclone. It's I would say it's a it's kind of a trophy build. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't that bad, really, considering how tanky the build is. Like, but it's certainly not cheap. There's a lot of what could be pretty GG items. Like, this was kind of expensive. This I pretty much made myself. So this wasn't cheap. You know, it's probably 2 high runes to buy it, already slammed, and then 3 lows in there. Same deal here, 3 ohms and 2 high runes to buy. So it's not that bad. The lifers are expensive. Torch, Annie, like all around it's expensive. It's not that bad though. It's pretty similar to, maybe even a little cheaper than like a Blade Fury Assassin. You have to use way more rejuves than one of those when you do the fight, but I think it's really fun. For me, the reward is not accumulating currency from running Dclones. The reward is the fun of the fight. So that's sort of my motivation to do it. If you are looking to make a character that can run Dclone super efficiently and almost never fail, and has the highest chance, is maximally profitable, I don't think this is going to be the build. But you know, everyone has different goals, and I've enjoyed this one a lot. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching. Let me know if you have questions about the Dclone fight, about the build, about anything I may have forgotten to cover. There is kind of a lot to cover when we're talking about Dclone and builds for it. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day.